Well. This is the old biologist coming at you again. Headed down here on a happy day mission. We're gathering down here at a very special place. Y'all don't laugh at my old mil spec camo, because I conducted an experiment a couple of years ago to see if I could be as successful in the deer and turkey woods with this old school woodland and Vietnam tiger stripe versus the latest and greatest high speed, low drag hunting industry camo. And lo and behold, by gosh, it worked. Who'd have thought? They didn't see me. And I got to doing work in this old stuff. And so I kind of just stuck with it. I've got some good hunting industry camo that I still use, but I can hunt in this old stuff. It just kind of makes me feel like some of them old boys that we honor on Veterans Day. So by gosh, I just get after them in this. But I do want to discuss very briefly, in detail. We used to get test questions back in the day in college, discussed briefly in detail. Like, how in the hell do you do that? But that's a college professor for you back in the 90s, early 2000s. They put you through the freaking ringer. But back when you physically had to show up for class. But I want to talk very quickly about two benefits to getting your antlerless harvest in early. Number one, you don't feed that doe the whole winter, whole fall. Feed her half a ton of food at 5 to 7 pounds a day just to shoot her at the end of the season. Go ahead and get her knocked out early. Go ahead and I'm going to let this old boy in here. Got him a load of cross ties. Go ahead and get her knocked out. Save that food for a 2-year-old, 3-year-old buck. Trying to make yourself more efficient. Obviously, you're going to have some needs to try to get a few does at the tail end. You never get done early, but there's no sense, in my opinion, from a grocery conservation standpoint, to feed a doe the whole season just to have to kill her later. The other one, in the deep south, our rut has a tendency to be mid to late December through mid to late January, at least in my part of the world. Some places it's even later, especially down there on the Gulf Coast. Other parts of the southeast, say Arkansas, North Alabama, you're looking at a late November. Even Northwest Mississippi, you're looking at a late November rut, potentially early December. But all that being said, is there's no need to not get after those does, beginning with archery tackle or whatever's available in October or mid to early November, all the way up through Thanksgiving. There's no reason to not get that antlerless harvest need met early. And when you get that knocked out early and you move into the rut, you might take that buck-doe ratio down from 3 does per buck. You're in a real bind, 4 does per buck, all the way down to maybe 2. If you really get after it and you're in good shape, you might get it all the way down to 1.5 to 1. If you drop that buck-doe ratio down going into the rut, bucks start looking around. So where are all the women at? He may move in daylight a little bit. And you take that 1 or 2 days of him moving in daylight, you might bump that up to 5 or 6 or 7 days of him moving in daylight. Y'all know as well as I do, a nocturnal buck is a rolling ball of butcher knives to kill. It ain't no good. But you make him hustle and go bam, 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 doze on the ground early. Gets up there and has to look around and move. I liken it to you gonna go to a bar as a young man or an establishment as a young man and look for a receptive young lady to spend some time with. Where are you gonna have to hustle? You go to Jonesboro, Arkansas, or Madison, Mississippi, or Oxford, Mississippi, or Tuscaloosa. Man, you can just sit there at the bar, you can sit there, small party, and you're gonna have a target rich enough environment that you don't really have to work. You can just wait on the right one to come by. But brother, you go down to somewhere like Artesia, you go to Chula, you go to Yazoo City, you go to Becker, somewhere like Aliceville or Demopolis, Alabama, son, you got to work. You got to go whooping around. You got to go everywhere to find a young lady to spend some time with. If you got to hustle and you got to compete, you got to make a move. Same concept with deer and turkeys. I'm not a proponent of shooting hens. I'm just saying that on years where you got more gobblers in the standing crop, they have to compete more for hens. The same applies to deer. The more bucks you have and the fewer does, they have to compete. And you might crank that rut intensity up a few notches with fewer does, more bucks. So y'all think about that. Y'all think about trying to get out there and get that antlerless quota met early. And maybe, just maybe, you'll help your buck hunting on into the mid-season, late season when the rut gets here if you're in the deep south. Y'all get out there and enjoy. We'll catch you next time.